KJ, we are out and about today, and we are at the Ashtabula County Animal Protective League, and I am here with Mary, who is the new director. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
So tell us about your new job here.
Okay, my gosh, I've been here all of 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yay!
And it's been a whirlwind, but wonderful. My job is to come in and help, I guess, redirect and form the future for the APL here in Ashtabula County. So not only are we looking at all the things we can do today to make the lives of animals here in Ashtabula County better, we're actually looking way, way, way out, 18, 24, 36 months for different programs and projects that we can bring to the community to help improve the lives, not only our animals, but our community members and their relationships with their animals. So a lot of what you're going to see is here in the shelter and within this building, but a lot of it's going to be outside these four walls as well and in the community. So we're very, very excited. We really want to engage and really be part of the fabric of the Ashtabula community and really work on education and resourcing and able to give people the tools they need to best take care of their pets and hopefully keep them at home. That's always the best case scenario. And if not, provide a resource where an animal could find a different home or a more suitable home. So there's a lot of work ahead. We're going to need a lot of help from the community, from volunteers and everyone. Yes, everyone. So we really hope. Everyone has been so warm and welcoming to me so far. I can't wait to get to meet everyone else in the county.
So what do you think is probably maybe your biggest challenge right now? Are you experiencing maybe some issues? You know, we all know the whole COVID things going on. Has that had an impact in the shelter? Are people adopting more because they're home, or there's a lot of job loss? Or are people having to surrender their pets? How's that impacting the shelter?
So I think there's a couple things that are going on, and not all of them are negative. So there are some silver linings to COVID. I think for one, despite being closed for a considerable time, and we were really lucky because we actually were able to maintain our staffing during that whole time. Our adoptions are actually up for this year, despite even that little closure period. More people at home, I think, means more people who have time to maybe acclimate an animal into their home. So we are so fortunate. Our numbers in the shelter are relatively low compared to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Oh, isn't that good news?
Yeah,
that's good news.
That's great news. That's great news. We've also, and thank you so much, seen a great increase in kind of our in-kind donations.
All right.
As everyone's been cleaning out closets and garages and things, we've received a number of donations.
Yay, that's you guys. Yay!
So that's really, really helped us. Those are things like blankets and even paper towels or dog bowls, all of those types of things. On the downside, we have had to cancel or change almost all of our fundraisers. So all of those special events, our fur ball had to be canceled. That's a major fundraising event for us. Any of our public events that we would partner on, a lot of those were canceled. And we're so excited, we are going to be doing Boo Wow this year, our Boo Wow Walk. It will be modified, pre-registered, it's October 10th. But it'll be downsized, and when you downsize, that obviously means that there's fewer funds coming in. So operational dollars obviously are something that we are always looking for support. We are just finishing up our annual campaign that we do in the summer, and people have been very generous. Unfortunately, that doesn't make up that gap with events and other things. So we definitely need support. We are kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop potentially with COVID. We've been talking regionally with other shelter directors. Once we all go back to work, hopefully, and kids are going back to school.
Yes.
How are our four-legged friends going to adjust at home after having us home? And we do feel there's probably going to be some separation anxiety. And I myself, yesterday was the first day where kids were back in school, husband was back, I was here, and there was a big gap where one of our four-legged friends, who really likes having his home, was home by himself for the first time. Not by himself with our other critters, but so we did little things, and these are things for you too. Make sure there's some enrichment there. Stuff a Kong with some frozen peanut butter so they have something to occupy themselves during the day. If you can, stop at home and give a quick walk, do that. And then make sure when you get home that you're giving them a little extra attention. I think we ran to the dog park as soon as I got home yesterday.
It's also helpful maybe to leave the TV or the radio on so it's not so quiet. I know my boys like the Disney Channel.
And there's actually, we found at one point there is a dog channel. If you have Amazon, the little stick, there's a dog channel. So, which our one dog loves, the other one could care less about. But anyhow, those little things, and we want to make sure that we're conscious of those, because we don't want all those bonds that we've created to break down. We don't want to start looking at behavioral issues and different things because we're changing our behavior. And we need to be a little bit patient during this time. When we're transitioning back, and obviously it's hard for us, but it's going to be hard for our pets too.
Yeah, we have to remember, especially dogs are pack animals, and when the rest of the pack has left, they go through that separation anxiety because they feel like they've been abandoned. Even though, you're coming home in 6, 7, 8 hours, they just don't get that.
Yeah, so you may find a few extra shoes chewed up. You may find, and just be patient with your babies, because things will hopefully return to somewhat new normal.
Whatever normal is now.
At some point, but those are some of the good and bad things.
So if somebody wanted to, was thinking about adopting a dog or a cat, what recommendations, would you make to them?
Sure. I think research is really important. I think understanding what your family or your personal needs and dynamics are. Don't fall in love with a breed before you understand what the lifestyle is and understand what your lifestyle is. There really are perfect animals for almost every lifestyle. We just tend to mess that up on aesthetics because we like the way one looks, or we think we want little and we'd be better with big, or we want big dog and really we'd be better with little. So I think doing your research and being really realistic about your family and what your needs are. And we all kind of go forth with our heart when we go into these things, and we do need to make sure we're also going in with our head. I think we all have the best intentions, and sometimes you may pick out a dog that needs more work than you're able to give, and there's nothing wrong with that. That just isn't the right fit for you right now. And what we really want to focus on is the right match. I would say you also need to fill out your adoption forms online. Get all of that done, all of your checks and everything out of the way, so that when you walk through the door with your appointment, you are ready to adopt. You don't have anything else any other hurdle that you're trying to overcome. And then I would say, make sure you're talking to staff. We do have, we're very fortunate to have an animal enrichment coordinator on staff, as well as our kennel staff. And when they take you out, ask those questions. And we also tell people, do not ever judge on their behavior in the kennel. This has been important post-COVID because the dogs haven't seen anyone for a long time, so they are very excited. But even then, this is not a natural environment for them. On their best day, they still may be jumping and barking and rushing at the door. And I can tell you there are a couple, you get them out of the crate and they're licking your face and rolling all over you and just can't wait. So we really encourage people to understand and then give dogs a chance. Listen to the folks here. They can tell you what their actual behaviors are because we see them day in and day out. We see them at their worst, but we also see them at their best. And then I would say, keep that continuum going. And this is something we're going to really focus on here, is kind of that continuum where we don't want people to feel like they leave the door and the door is shut and we're done. We want them to be able to ask questions about behavior. We want them to give time once the dog gets home. It honestly takes up to 3 months for a dog to acclimate completely to a new home, especially if they've been here for a long time or they were in a really bad situation before. So we want to give people the tools and the confidence and the support they need to be able to be successful. A lot of times we'll have a dog returned in a week. Someone said, I can't, the dog hasn't even begun to figure out what's going on yet in a week. And that's no fault of anyone. It's hard to bring chaos into your home.
It is.
But we're trying to create those expectations and that continuum so people understand what to expect once they get home. And then it does end usually. The craziness, usually.
She's not at my house.
A different kind of crazy. Or we just get used to it, one or the other,
That's right. We just want to accept it as the norm. Oh my gosh. If there were one thing, one message, one piece of information that you would like to make sure that people get from this video, what would that be?
Hopefully this comes off in the right way, but we don't want your animals. We tell people that all the time. You know, I know that there are some perception issues because we do sometimes work with dogs that have been taken out of abusive situations or dogs that may be here because they're astray. We 100% don't want your dog or cat. We want them to be home with you. We want every dog and cat in the shelter to be home with you. We love them and we take care of them and we do our best to give them all we can. But we don't want them here. This is not as wonderful as we can make it here. They need to be in a home. That's where they belong. So from the stray cases to dog warden cases to owner surrenders, whatever it is, we want, and our ultimate goal is to get that animal in the best home possible as quickly as possible. So I know it doesn't sound right when I say we don't want your animal, but we don't.
We want them to have a home. This is just a temporary spot.
This is a pass through. We hope for them a positive experience, a warm, comfortable, loving environment. But we want everyone to have a home because that's going to be the best case scenario for them. So I could tell everyone that would be what I'd say. It sounds pretty simple, but and just that we can always use help. We can always use volunteers. We have spots on our board of directors that people are really passionate about really driving forth the mission into the community and not only look at what's happening in the shelter, but what's happening in the community and then what's happening in the state when it comes to regulations on dogs and dog bans and all of those types of things. So we're really looking for passionate people at all those levels, whether you just want to come in and pet a cat and hang out for a little bit, or whether you're really an advocate and want to fight for change on a bigger level. We're looking for all those people, and then of course anyone to help with fundraising. We have some great plans, some wonderful ideas. None of that is going to happen without financial support from the community, and we're very lucky to have NASIF and some other wonderful, wonderful sponsors.
They are great people.
They are wonderful people. We couldn't do it without them. But we need more people to step up like that and really be a part of it. We're currently looking at a kennel renovation and a shelter renovation to really bring everything up to a better level and a better experience, not especially for our animals, but also for the public coming in. And that's a huge thing. This shelter really has not been updated, the kennels, since it was built. And there's been a lot of advances and a lot of great things we could be doing. And we do have a good amount of money that we've set aside for those things, but we're going to need more in order to really make it, we're not looking at fancy, we're looking at really, really functional.
Yeah, and functional sometimes, goes beyond, when people come in, I know they see the kennels and the floor, and well, that's fine. I know one of the big things is always ventilation.
Yes.
And now with COVID, people are really starting to, kind of grasp the idea how serious, ventilation is.
Absolutely.
But when you're talking about bringing animals in, especially things like parvo that,
Any
that,
contagion.
that
yes.
was, that was the early COVID almost as far as dogs are concerned. It spreads like wildfire. So that, those types of things, much like your own home, need to be updated.
Absolutely, and we keep saying it really is about function and not about fancy. We are a grassroots shelter, and we will always be a grassroots shelter. We always want to be a part of this community, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the things that can make our pets' lives safer. So new kennels would absolutely help with that. More comfortable, so noise reduction while they're in here. Antimicrobial floors, so that you're not having bacteria and things in your cracks. You're able to clean easier, faster. Faster you clean, the more time you can spend with enrichment with the dogs. And then of course, sprinklers, ventilation, all of those things. And those are so important for the health and welfare of the animals, but also will contribute to the public's experience as well. We understand, you don't want to come into a shelter that doesn't have a pleasant smell. That's hard to cope with overall.
It is.
It's hard to keep up with. But with things like ventilation and new floors and the kennel improvements, we're really, really hoping that we can provide both.
Is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap it up? Any words of wisdom, piece of advice?
Oh my gosh, just love your animals. They have been so important during this time, I think, for so many of us. I think we've realized, how important it is to have those support systems in place. And really, we just encourage you, if you haven't been to the APL in a while, or you've had an experience in the past, to come on out. We'll also come to you. So we are, I'm available and willing to come out to meetings or events and talk. We would love to partner with as many people in the community as we can. We are very, very open to that. So we would love to work more in the community and just really be part of that fabric.
Exciting things are happening here. Oh, I'm so glad that you allowed us to come out here today and hang out. Hopefully we're going to get a little video with some of the doggies and some of the kitties. If you're thinking about an animal, again, do a little bit of the homework, do a little bit of that research. The library might have some good books.
Look at that! Nice plug.
Again, if you have a pet, take good care of it. If you're thinking about adding a pet, do your homework, and then the APL is the place to start.
Absolutely. And again, fill out that adoption application. Let us know what you're looking for. And then a lot of times we'll call you when we have something that meets your needs, especially if it's pretty specific. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Again, check out the APL. They need your help, your time, or your supplies. Maybe if you don't have time to come and help clean or walk a dog, when you're at the grocery store, you can pick up an extra roll of paper towels, an extra gallon of bleach.
Oh my gosh, bleach and paper towels are always needed here.
Yes, and they won't be offended if you drop that on their doorstep.
No, not at all.
That's okay.
And honestly, the other thing, if I can just say, we are a no judgment zone. I want people to understand that. If you are having trouble and you absolutely can no longer take care of your pet, there is no judgment here. We want the best life for them. So I know a lot of times people will feel guilty, maybe go another route, maybe try and pass the dog off to someone else or the cat off to someone else. Just know we are your ally in this and finding the best possible situation. So we're not going to judge them.
And even we understand they are a community resource. They're working hard on it, and I'm super excited to see what great things.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having us. And I think we're going to be back again for another visit. All right.